Welcome to Keep Hustling, where we are going past the why to get to the how. I'm your host, the always hustling Aaron Gordon, aka NY Risk Advisor, aka Mr. Keep Hustling. In this podcast, we will be diving deep into the professional and personal successes of our guests to find out how they hustled through the most difficult times in their life and their development to achieve the success they've gotten to today. So buckle up for what hopes to be an amazing ride. Let's get to it. Welcome to Keep Hustling with my guest, Jermane Cheathem. Jermane, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me, Aaron.
I have an Arizona joke, but it's not, it hasn't quite clicked. So I'm just going to say, I guess it's opportunistic that we're having this conversation in October, which is probably the only pleasant time to be in Arizona. Bam. How was that?
Yeah, you could do better.
I don't know. Arizona's a tough one, like nice people, decent weather, except for when it's way too hot. Like, what am I supposed to say? I don't know. The Diamondbacks, like they beat the Yankees when I was a kid, like that ninth inning that I'll never forget because a stupid blooper. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, thank you for being here. Your bio, it's simple. It's to the point. But something hit me in your story that is unique. And I want to ask you about that, but I want to ask you specifically in the context of how did what I'm about to ask you about help form the foundation of who you are today and how you're able to keep evolving your professional and personal life. And that is, and I quote, you were abandoned twice and you moved 18 times. I had to read that a second time. And you moved 18 times by the age of 7. Now that is striking to me. I've lived in 4 places my whole life, 38. So I imagine that at a certain point, and I say this respectfully to you, resilience is overrated, meaning like too much resilience and like constantly having to be resilient and moving 18 times by the time you're 7, like might get old, if you know what I mean. And like, it's cool and it's good to have trials and tribulations because it builds toughness, but like nobody has to be that tough, or maybe they do. So I just want to like ask you about that and kind of start there, and then we'll take the conversation where it goes.
Yeah, I think that the constant movement and the constant change and the constant uncertainty was actually probably the catalyst that allowed me to build everything I've built up to this date. Because in its essence, life is nothing but change. We might think that life is constant, business is constant, that we're in control, that we can have stability. But the truth is, it all goes away. It's all fleeting and it's all very fragile. So this early lesson that I got taught me like, okay, things change and that's okay. You just keep putting one foot in front of the next and you don't really worry about yesterday because you have today. So it always let me think forward instead of backwards. And it always helped me be proactively looking for solutions instead of problems.
It's funny you say that because my father, he should rest in peace, one of the things he used to say is that he was born in the wrong generation, that we were born with a silver spoon in our mouths, but also that my generation, our generation, the one that he saw in front of him, he thought would be at a disadvantage because it was so easy for some people. Meaning those early challenges are actually what life is ultimately going to be, filled with ups and downs and challenges and monkey wrenches that are thrown into your personal and professional life. And I guess for you, further being able to say that you've done work in 40 countries, 95% margins, 50 plus million in deals, probably wouldn't have happened without that early resilience, or probably would have looked different, or you probably would have quit on something at some point. So do you feel like that gave you an advantage?
Oh, without question. Because, business is simple. Life is simple, but that doesn't mean it's easy. One
second. I rarely interrupt our guests, but you're going to have to explain that because that is one of the, I think I know where you're going, but that's, to many, that would sound crazy. So what do you mean by that? That business is simple and life is simple.
A simple analogy is exercise or weight loss or just staying in shape. It's not rocket science. Eat less than you consume or than you expend as far as energy. So, being a deficit, that's it. It's simple, but it's not easy because there's Doritos, there's M&Ms, there's cakes, there's ice cream, there's fast food galore. Everything's at our fingertips. Uber Eats. You can consume 6,000 calories a day if you wanted to. So my point is, all the philosophies in life and business are very simple, but they're not necessarily easy. For example, like even in the business realm, you don't have to really do anything yourself. Business is done with other people, period. So if you find the right service to sell and you connect it to the right people through like a referral network where you're just like the connector to these two entities, you get paid handsomely, but you really aren't doing the work. It's very, very easy. But again, people they just don't do what's easy. You know what I mean? They conflate the two ideas.
So what do you mean by that, and why? Why do you think that happens? And you're saying that if the average person really thought about it, they could find an easy route, spend less than they earn, right? Same way as they could eat less calories than they expend, and rework the hamster wheel to make their lives easy. Yet people seek complexity, or people tend to think that it's going to be harder than it is, so therefore they confuse the two. What's the hook?
I think the rub is I don't think people necessarily seek complexity, but they do procrastinate and they use complexity as their crutch. Because if you just consume more YouTube videos, even if you just read another book, if you just do more busy work or watch more TikToks, then you're basically delaying the actual thing that you should be doing, that you know you should be doing, that would actually get you the result, because you're afraid of the unknown that you might fail. And the person that you don't want to disappoint is yourself. So I'll just sit on the couch and read another book about how to succeed in business instead of actually just talk to other people that might want to buy my thing.
Or doing it, right? Just actually doing it. It's interesting you say that. I'm a big Alex Hormozi fan. I don't know if you're a fan or not, or if you, but one of the things that he says that I find to be incredibly simple, like you say, my father used to say, keep it simple, stupid, or keep it stupid, simple, whatever, is that the people who are ultimately the most successful and the people who others look up to and want to emulate, they're not doing 5 or 10x the work, the actual work that the unsuccessful are doing. They're doing 100 or 200x the work. Because instead of doing the TikTok, they're making another sales call. Instead of making 5 sales calls, they're making 500 sales calls. And people don't see that. But really, if somebody believes, I think what you're saying is, if somebody simply believes that in their business, the key to success is making sales calls, and they only make 5, they don't really believe that. Or they're making it more complicated than it is, right? Because if they really believed that that was their ticket to success, they would every waking hour be on the phone. So, and I note that you said, I was going to get to this, but you just keep driving the complexity. So I am going to note that my favorite line in this entire email that you sent me when we set this up was story-driven conversation that will connect with the following. And this is unbelievable, so I want to hear the story, and I want you to dive into this. The others are fine, but this is incredible. Why complexity isn't ambitious, it's insanity. Take us there. We were talking about complexity, but there's. Yeah, I feel like this is a rabbit hole that I need to go down with you.
Well, the insane part about it is we die. So we only have a certain amount of time here on Earth. So if you want to make your life and business more complex, that is literally the definition of insanity, because we have the most precious resource we have is our time. And complexity does not help you with your time. It dwindles it away. And so when you think about anything, the most important thing to focus on is, where is the leverage? So to your point, Aaron, when you talked about, Alex Hormozi's idea of like the successful people are doing 100x the volume, not necessarily. They're thinking 100 times more on how to solve the problem using leverage instead of effort. And so
what kind of leverage? What do you mean by leverage? Take us there.
Okay, let me break this down.
Yeah.
So this is about what you sell, who you sell it to, and how you sell it. Those are the 3 components of any successful business. So what you sell, it has to be extremely lucrative. So this is the whole reason why I got into financial services, because it's extremely lucrative. It's digital. Everyone needs it. So leverage, number 1, on what you sell. Number 2 is who you sell it to. They have to be able to afford it. They must desperately need your thing. It's not a like to have, it's a must have. And so when you think about leverage from those 2 vantage points, okay, so how am I going to get this, in my case, financial service product in front of my ultimate client, who would be medical doctors? That's my primary avatar. How am I going to get in front of them? Well, am I going to try to sell them directly? There's no leverage there. That's a battle. That's like, do you want this? No. Do you want this? No. That's silly. Instead, you just partner and you find strategic partnerships with people that have these doctors in their network and have their trust. And so you just simply put your product or service, mine is financial services, in front of this referring partner, and they actually give it to the doctors because it helps the referring partner sell their thing. So in my case, financial services to medical device people that need my financial services to sell their devices to the doctors. So it's a win-win-win. So that is what is leverage. And that's what I mean by, if you make it too complex, then you're just driving yourself insane, because we die. Make money, have free time, and help other people. That's it.
But if I may ask, when you figured that out, you added a step to the transaction. So it is a little bit more complex, which then led to a simplicity, meaning standard traditional sales or business philosophy would say go direct to the consumer. Now you figured out I can leverage referral sources, trusted advisors, resources that they already have to get in front of them. But until you figured that out, you had to make your life more complex and sell to someone who ultimately wasn't your end user. So are you saying that everybody should spend time analyzing where the holes in their life's efficiency is, personally and professionally, and then being able to leverage that efficiency and make their life simpler will ultimately lead to more money, more time, and therefore more happiness?
No, the goal is to find the lead domino. What's the lead domino that's going to push over all the other dominoes without you having to do any of the pushing?
So you're saying, how do you turn one into then two, which then turns it into four, which then turns into eight, which then turns into 16, which then turns into 32, and all you did was push the one button?
Exactly.
This is good. I didn't know this conversation was going this way. I like this. Can you help us reverse engineer that? Because I feel like to do that, you got to start with the 32 and then figure out how you can creep it back to one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. So when you think about my service, okay, so I know that financial services are very lucrative. So who do I want to get in front of? Like who would have the money, that would have the wherewithal, that would actually want to buy this, right? So I don't think about like all the businesses and all the customers that I could service. I'm thinking about who is the one that makes the most sense, right? And so from my vantage point, I'm thinking, okay, I want to get in front of medical doctors. They got money, they got good credit, they don't ask a lot of questions, they know medicine, they're not super business savvy, so they just want it done. They're very direct. So once I figure out, okay, I got the product, I got the client, right? I know who they want. Now I'm just thinking like from a holistic lens. It's hard to sell to people one-on-one because you're fighting an uphill battle because you have your position, they have their position. Instead of like, think about your life in general, where you meet your friends, where you meet your wife. It's through like groups of people that are together, that have like a network, right? Where maybe it's church, maybe it's a family friend you met your wife at, like whatever it might be, a similar team you like, right? There's like a community sense there. And so it's so much easier to sell through the psychology of trust. When they trust me to fulfill on this promise, because they already trust the person that referred me. There's no questions. And so, like, for example, like the lead domino. So my lead domino is like, okay, who has the trust of this doctor? Well, the people that need my services and the people that need it to sell it to the doctor. It's the medical device reps, right? Or, for example, say I wanted to be very productive in my day, right? Like, okay, there's 100 things you can do in your day to be productive. Well, what's probably the lead domino? Like, if you step back and just think about it, well, wake up earlier. It's not rocket science.
Add more time, right? Add more time. Right. More time means more availability. More availability means more things get done, presumably.
Well, and a lot of it's just confidence too, because if you say, I'm not really productive, I'm waking up at 7, 8, 9, I'm not getting started, I'm procrastinating. If you tell yourself, okay, tomorrow I'm gonna wake up at 5 a.m. and you do, confidence in your ability to execute on a plan. That's step number one. You already have pride. You already feel good about yourself. I'm up at 5. Great. Well, now what should I do? Well, let me hit the gym for half an hour and then let me work on my number one biggest priority. But now I have all this extra time where I have a philosophy. I call it win before noon. I believe if you work in your business for more than 4 hours a day, you're working on the wrong things. So I believe like after 12 noon, you shouldn't be working on your business anymore. You should be having such leverage in the first 4 hours of the day that you don't need to work anymore after 12 noon.
And that means that you're focused on the correct things. You're lasered in on the right process. And therefore you set enough of the lead dominoes before the hours of 12 that the rest of the dominoes are falling throughout the rest of the day, because business continues even when you're not working on it. That's the basic idea.
For sure. But then even more important than that is in the afternoon, you actually have some space to go on a walk, to go to the gym, whatever you want to do, to listen to a podcast, to actually let your subconscious mind start working on how can I iterate tomorrow's 4 hour time block to make it even better? Because one of the problems that entrepreneurs do is they're constantly working 12-hour days and they never actually take a breath to step back and say, is this the thing I should be fucking working on in the first place?
And I assume what you're getting at is that people just get stuck in the mousetrap. And if they actually took the time and took a step back, they would realize that they're making it far more complex than it has to be. And therefore, once you think about it, it becomes less complex. You end up being able to do things in a more efficient and profitable manner. And therefore, you open up more time because that which was taking you 8 hours before is taking you 4 now.
Yeah. I think most people in business or life, they should eliminate 90% of the things they're doing.
So why don't people do it?
I think people are obsessed with busyness. And I think what that comes down to is, in general, people don't like to be idle and think about their inefficiencies, their insecurities, their fears. So they consume more stuff. They do more things to keep their mind busy than to actually sit down and face the demon, to look at that dark tunnel that they don't want to go down, but they know they have to go down there in order to be fulfilled and actually build the life they want. But instead, they'll just turn on the TV or do something else that will send out an email blast for no reason, post on Instagram. It's silly.
Or worse, scroll through Instagram and not post and think about how doomed they are. It's funny, in a very simplistic way. I think I mentioned this on the podcast before, but I was once at a mastermind, and there was a genius in the insurance industry. His name was Billy Wagner. He got up and he spoke, and someone asked him, because I guess they knew the answer, he had done an efficiency audit of his life from the moment he woke up till the moment he went to sleep. He wanted more time to spend with his family and more time to do things he enjoyed. So in addition to figuring out how to be more efficient in his professional life, he did a deep dive analysis into every second of his day in his personal life and his normal routines. And he found out that there was one singular, incredibly inefficient part of his day, every single day. And it took, I don't know if it was 4 to 6 minutes of his life every single day, and that was shaving. Okay. So that's a crazy example, but he literally figured out the cost to laser the hair off of his face to never have to shave. And then he was able to get 6 more minutes every single day in his life. Now, obviously, I'm not suggesting that every person should go and get laser instead of shaving. But what I took from that, what I take from what you're saying is that if a person would just do a minimal level of analysis of what they're actually doing, how they're actually running their business, how they're actually trying to get in front of the ultimate consumer, how their sales process is actually happening, what they're actually doing on a day-to-day, minute-to-minute basis, you're saying it even stronger, scare the crap out of them because they'd realize how much time they're wasting and how much more time they could have and how many more hobbies they could have or how much more fun they could have with their family. But if nothing else, they would just be able to figure out how to be more profitable in their business life because they would have more time.
Without question. If you think about it, like, life is to be enjoyed, not to be stressed. And if you notice, if you're always busy or always consuming stuff, it's a constant state of stress because you're constantly comparing yourself to other people. And I believe in not trying to have maximum growth or maximum output. I'm trying to maximize my personal freedom, my personal fulfillment. And so there are parts of my life that I want to be extremely efficient in, especially business, because I want my time back so I can explore other aspects of life. Life is not just business and it's not just leisure. It's both.
But I guess part of that is, I guess if we're talking about reverse engineering the process, it's figure out what you want the time for and what your goals are and how you want to spend your time. B, figure out how much time you need for that. And then C, figure out how to make everything else fit so that you do have that time. Every single day I want to go for an hour walk outside. It's only light, or the best times to walk are, let's say, between, I don't know, making up, so between 4 and 5 p.m. Therefore, I have to be done with my workday by 4 p.m. Therefore, I need to make sure I'm an hour more efficient than I was before so that I can finish by 4 p.m. and not 5 p.m. So therefore, I can go for a walk with my wife. So it's really, that end goal is still the same, but it's moving the complexity from everything else. Do I have it right?
Somewhat. Here's the simple way to think about it is make your life and business so easy you don't have to even have a plan. And what
Amen.
I mean is, if you have the 4 hours to work on one huge, highly leveraged activity, not 3, not 2, 1, and all you do that is that one activity for 4 hours, then you can literally for the rest of the day do whatever the hell you want. Go for a walk, it doesn't even matter what time of day, go to the movies, whatever, because
You're
you're
saying it's
finding the
impossible that you won't be
leverage.
successful because you will become a master of it to an extreme.
Because you're finding the highest leverage activity. Like for example, like in my financial services business, I only did one thing for 4 hours a day. I contacted people that sold medical equipment to doctors. That's it. And I offered them my financial services to help them sell their equipment to the doctors. That's all I did for years. And I only worked less than 4 hours a day. And it was great because I could do whatever I wanted for the rest of the day. And same thing with my other coaching services. All I do now is go on podcasts and talk in front of paid masterminds. That's it. So 4 hours a day, I'm working on getting in touch and talking to podcast hosts and mastermind leaders. That's it. The rest of the day, I do whatever the hell I want.
I want to ask another tidbit or bullet point that you mentioned, because I just want to make sure that we hit on this, because I think it's super important, and I would love further digging into this, and that is, and I quote, the mindset shifts that free you from the survival grind. Can I get the top 1, 2, or 3 mindset shifts, and how do I get there? Because I'm ready. I'm ready, doctor. I'm ready,
I'm gonna
sensei.
give you one. I'm gonna give you one. If you need more, you can ask for more.
All right, let's hear it. Let's do it.
I think we get so caught up thinking myopically. And what I mean is, like, we're just looking at our own feet. We're just thinking about me, I, what I want, what I don't want, what I'm scared of, what I desire, all this, right? And so when you zoom out from a mindset shift and you actually understand where you are number one, you're on a planet in the middle of the universe. You don't know how you got here. You don't know where you're going. So it reframes your problems in a totally different mechanism. And if you think about the existence of modern humans, if the lifespan of the cosmos was scaled down to 1 calendar year, so the Big Bang was January 1st, modern humans did not show up until the last second of December 31st. We just got here. What are we worried about? Oh, the funnel's not working. Oh, the podcast isn't going well. Oh, the doctor didn't sign the documents. Oh, my client didn't buy the $10,000 package. Who cares? Turn the page, talk to somebody else, have some fun, go to dinner, drink a beer, whatever. It makes things lighter, funner, and people that are confident and are almost like nonchalant about winning and losing. The funny thing is, they get all the deals. People are attracted to that energy.
I know, that's
because they don't give a fuck.
It's the most annoying thing. It's the most annoying thing when you see someone who does it so easily, and then you realize that the reason why they got the sale is because they do it so easily, and that they're at the bar and at the networking event, they're not actually doing the networking thing. Hi, my name is Aaron and I do this. They just happen to mention it off the cuff to the guy at the bar, and then they walk out with 2 sales, and you're like, I think I got a business card because I was standing by the table the whole time. It's it's the most annoying thing, but I guess you're right that if the person spent the time perfecting that and realizing it, also, by the way, and I guess this is also again, is realizing the speck of a human is so significant to us, but insignificant in the cosmos, for lack of a better term, or in the large, that who cares if that call didn't go well? Who cares if that guy hung up on you? Who cares if you don't get that sale? Because there's always another one, or the next one could be better, or the next one could be bigger, or who knows how it's going to play out. So why dwell and waste the energy there? And then you realize okay, I'll just get the next one. And that's not significant, but you put enough of them together and then you get significant. So I like that. It's funny because focusing on what's insignificant actually becomes more significant. It's ironic.
Yeah, it is. Because if you think about it, nothing in life matters except for the things that matter to you. And so forget what everyone else is doing. Forget what they're thinking, what they're saying. Just do whatever the hell you want to do. And then at the end of the day, as long as you tried your best, turn the page and wake up tomorrow and do something different, or do it again, or iterate. The whole process of business, it's all about iteration.
And if you evolve that a little bit, then eventually you'll climb. Right? A little bit better
sure.
Each day and you climb. I love that. Wow. Okay. This is, I like it. It's funny. It's another irony that the simplest things are the things that can make a person the most happy, give them the most time, and make them the most money. And yet everybody just focuses on the most complicated version of how to get to X, Y, and Z, when really they should just pick up the phone or go to the meeting or make the calls or stop taking themselves so seriously. So I love that. Jermaine, as you know, well, this was like, I'm excited about this one, and I'm glad it's coming out in a couple weeks. Okay. As you know, we have a closed digits on this podcast where we ask our guests to leave us with their favorite motivational or inspirational quote and what it means to them and to their hustle. So with that, I will say, Jermane Cheathem, thank you so much for being here again, all the way from Arizona. Thank you for making the time. Thank you for inspiring me. I'm actually going to focus on this and maybe do like a little exercise on this. I'm working on it in my brain, in my head. But thanks again for being here. I'm going to turn the floor over to you for your favorite quote.
Thanks, Aaron, for having me, man. I'm currently in Mexico City, so I'm not in Arizona, but it's close enough. My favorite quote, I love a lot of quotes, but if I had to pick one just right now to hit me, it's from Helen Keller. And she says, life is either an adventure or it's nothing.
I love that. That is keep hustling. I love that. Take the adventure, make it happen, chase your dreams, make it simple, keep it simple, stupid, and great things will happen. Jermaine, thank you again for being here.
Thanks, Aaron.
This has been another episode of Keep Hustling. Remember, do well by doing good, and of course, and always, keep hustling. All right, hustlers, that brings us to the end of another fantastic episode. Thank you for listening. The listeners are the most important part of this show. If you like what you heard, please leave us a review wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Your feedback means the world to us and helps us reach more listeners. Plus, be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you never miss an episode. We have some amazing guests and topics lined up for you, and we don't want you to miss out. And finally, if you have any suggestions, comments, or even just want to say hello, please feel free to reach out to us on all social media platforms. We are Keep Hustling Pod on Instagram, X, Facebook, and LinkedIn. We would love to hear from you to continue the conversation. Thanks again for tuning in and supporting our podcast. We truly appreciate each and every one of you. Until next time, stay curious, stay hungry, and keep hustling.